Was a time of the preacher when a story begun. Choice of a woman and the love of a man, and how he loved her so dearly. He went out of his mind. Well, she left him for someone that she left behind.
And we're live. Are we live?
We are.
All right.
We're
I
live.
never know for sure. He likes
We're
to-
live and we're alive.
Oh, okay.
That's
And,
both.
Yeah.
we are already having a very fun time here in the upper room because Garrett has a beer
Hey, yeah.
and
It's apple juice. It's
Sarah has a wine and Ronnie has a whiskey. So we got all the bases covered
That's right.
for a relaxing conversation tonight. Before we go to our special guest tonight, I have to say to you, Garrett,
yeah.
you showed up a little early tonight to soak up internet because you've been moving.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be
Yeah,
happy
yeah.
though, right? You
I-
closed on a house. Sarah,
Yo,
you're
yeah,
a
I'm
realtor.
happy.
Did you see that? Yeah.
I know. I know. I asked him.
I
I,
did-
was like,
well, I'm
"Where'd you
like-
move?" And
Well-
he told me, "Do you want to talk about it in front of everyone? What's your new address?
Yeah, tell us your address.
I don't want to tell them.
Everyone show up
It's
at
my
Garrett's new
it's
house.
my place of seclusion. No. Yeah, we just moved to Lafayette Creek Landing. Right behind Publix, a really nice little neighborhood. With the help of Braden and a couple of his friends, we were able to get moved in. We got everything
Okay.
officially moved in today, but man, I'm tired. I logged in 48 flights of stairs yesterday.
Wow,
Just yesterday. So
that's such a man to count how many flights of stairs he takes.
I was like, my legs
How many
are
times he goes
tired. How many
up and down?
flights did I? Oh,
your phone.
Oh
was
yeah, your
tracking
phone.
that.
Yeah.
yeah. I usually don't keep track of that, but on a day like yesterday, it was
And
like,
it's hot.
oh my goodness.
It's real hot.
Yeah.
I had like 4 Gatorades and 2 waters.
Well, I'm glad Braden could help you out. Him and
Yeah.
a couple pals. I don't know. I know that he said you paid him, but I don't know how he split it up. So I put it between. That's just how. That was all up to them.
oh, it's hilarious. Yeah, I gave them all like I gave the money to Braden. I was like, dude, I'm not in charge of splitting this up. You guys figure that out amongst yourselves because I don't want to like tick one of them off. Braden can tick them off.
Yeah, he's the handler. He's the one that hired him out.
That's
So who knows what kind of deal he's
That's-
made?
That's exactly right.
Who knows?
It's a smart way of doing it, man.
Yeah.
I've been around a while.
So we have Bridget Bergwall says hello, and Charlene
Bridget.
Hale, and Sarah Ann saying hello back. Derek and Jennifer Stanley are watching. Good to see them. They're from the northern part of our viewing area, northern Alabama. So
I was like, where's Northern?
Kathy Joyner, Linda Bullard, 9 others are watching with them. Rob Dixon, good to see you, Rob, out there. So we've got a good crew, a few dozen already joined up for tonight, and it's gonna be really, really great tonight. Because Sarah Anne Davidson is here.
Woo!
And we
I'm here.
specifically asked what her poison of choice was, and she ordered up a nice Pinot Noir, and she has it, and in a Waterford crystal glass.
Thanks
So
to Cindy. She's
that's right.
taking care
So-
of me.
so
And you, Ronnie, of course.
That's right. So
for
you
me.
should feel just real like, we wanted you to feel like you were welcomed, not just because you show up here every week and play guitar, but this is your time tonight.
This is my moment.
And you asked me tonight, what are we going to talk about? And I showed you my little legal pad of like 34 questions.
Yes.
Uh,
I'm excited. I want to know.
It's like one of those graphs that, like, if she answers yes, then go this way. If no, go this way.
Yeah, that's
it's like
exactly
all
right.
over the
Wired
place.
magazine used to have those that were just fantastic. I don't know if you ever saw it, but it'd be like, are you a Mac person or a PC person?
Right.
And it would be, it would fill up that wall if you charted it out. But anyway,
So that's pretty amazing.
It's not quite that
Intricate, no.
complicated.
Well,
tonight.
I'm an open book, so I'm here to.
I see you have to be
share
like a professional wine drinker because you are wearing white, and that is
I would
dangerous.
not do that. Yeah.
Well, I
But-
didn't necessarily. Well, I guess I did know because you would ask me what kind of wine I want. I should have gone with white wine if I'm going to wear white. But listen,
But that's
you
your
only
favorite.
live one time, you know.
Well, I'm not much of a
YOLO.
wine drinker because I could have that one glass, and we would all be fired within 45 minutes. I can't do it. So man's got to know his limitations, as Clint Eastwood said.
Listen, we'll see.
So Sarah, obviously you got a lot going for you. You really do.
Thank you.
I've known you now for a little better than a year. That's hard to believe.
I know.
And we met. It might be good to say this. Bobby Raines is always kind of that connector, putting people together.
He is.
But you had a mutual friend that is a friend of ours, Nicole.
Yes.
Right? That was the connection to Bobby. Is that right? Nicole Witt?
Yes. So Nicole Witt, who's in a band called Farewell Angelina.
Right.
And I'm friends with all of the ladies in the band, but Nicole has come down and played at Warehouse 360, where A Simple Faith meets, or the building that we meet in, a couple times for Songwriters Festival. And she knows Bobby Raines, who I got to know through playing while one of the girls in Farewell Angelina was having a baby. So I went out on the road with them, and I can't remember where I met Bobby. I think it might have been in Birmingham. But we played there, and I met Bobby and knew that he was from this area. And so during Songwriters Festival in 2019, so the beginning of last year, they asked me to open for them, and reconnected with Bobby. And I, said, if y'all ever need anybody to come out and play, like a female, let me know. And we obviously connected through that. And I just fell in love with A Simple Faith and just everyone there in the community, and here we are.
Well, and that was of course, the initial cause of us getting together is that marvelous singing voice of yours.
Oh, well,
now,
you.
When did all that start?
So loaded question, because I sang for a long time, but it wasn't necessarily a marvelous singing voice.
I know that feeling.
It's more like
I haven't changed to marvelous singing yet.
It's
still stuck in the awkward phase.
Yeah, so I grew up singing. There was always lots of music in my household. My grandfather was always singing Irish hymns and Irish songs. My great-grandmother came over from Ireland when she was 16, Ireland, Scotland. So she would always sing, the
How did I not
so
know
we
that?
talk and
Oh
I
my
don't know.
goodness! Like, this is huge.
This is massive.
All
now,
my,
what part
all my
of
people
Ireland?
are.
McBrayer and McHugh. I mean, we're all about
I
this
know.
Scott-Irish thing.
It's an Irish crew over here, and I will have
No
you
wonder
know,
why we're drinking.
my uncles did this really deep dive into our ancestry. So I guess 4 or 5 generations back, there were I don't know, there's this one thing in something that they handed out to all the family where it's just and we're related to a bunch of street brawling, whiskey drinking,
I can see that.
streetmen, Ireland,
Troubadours.
Irishmen,
Yeah, I love that.
Like Tom Cruise in that one movie, Far and Away, just like that. Do you
I
not
don't
know
know
what
if
I'm
I've seen that,
As
but
we were saying, so
I would assume if they're on the street and it reminds me of kind of Gangs of New York. Apparently, is what
that's,
my ancestors
I was
were
thinking of the priest. Come out, priest. That. I mean, they were spiritual people, but they obviously there was not much compartmentalization. It all ran together.
Right.
So, well, that's that. But
so
you grew up in South Georgia, so
yes,
singing at home, singing in the church.
Yeah. So I say all that to say there was just music around all the time, and my mom grew up Catholic. She was my grandmother became a born again Christian and found a relationship with Jesus, and so there was a lot of Christian music growing up, and I grew up in the church, and there are lots of praise and worship music, and so I started leading worship when I was, I don't know, maybe 11 or 12. Just knew that my friend actually was singing My Father's Eyes by Amy Grant. I'm
yes,
I know.
Amy Grant,
which
Sorry,
Amy Grant was my first ever tape. So I just was,
love Amy Grant.
I love Amy Grant. I still do. She's magnificent. She's just such an incredible human being and artist.
I don't know if he's watching tonight. I can't stay caught up here, but my great friend David Beavers, who lives in Nashville, is Amy's neighbor now.
Oh, no way.
Oh yeah. Every time I go see David, I'll say, "Can you drive me by Amy Grant's house
What's
one
his
more time?"
What's his address?
Yeah,
What's his address?
Let me just sketch that aura.
Yeah. Belle Mead.
Nobody needs to know
Bell-
my
Bell
address.
Mead,
We need to know
honey.
her.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, I have so many cool stories. She's just amazing, and Vince
yeah.
is also amazing.
Yeah.
Vince Gill, and just that whole what they have going on is really awesome. But anyway, so my friend was singing Father's Eyes. I was and she got scared, ran off stage, and I was like, I want to do that. And so after that, I knew like I wanted to be on stage. I wanted to sing. So long story short, I started leading youth worship, and I stayed home sick from school one day, and the pastor happened to call my mom, and I was just dropping in on the line. And
Was it a wired line with a 20-foot cord?
yes, one of those where you could just pick up at the same
Yeah.
time as someone else and they didn't know you were listening.
Oh yeah.
So I had, the phone up to my ear and was holding the thing over and trying not to breathe in it. And my mom was on the phone with the youth pastor, and he said, Sarah really has a talent. If if this is something she's really passionate about, this could be like a career, for her, or something that could really lead somewhere. So that's kind of when I knew that I really wanted to pursue music as a career, and just, invest a lot more time in music. So that's kind of
Cool.
when it started.
But that's still pretty interesting. Really Catholic roots in the family
Yeah.
that turn over to kind of more of a charismatic. Didn't you
Yeah,
tell me once that your grandmother was more in a charismatic church?
Yeah, just non-denominational, I
Yeah,
guess,
right.
like.
But very, very free.
Yes,
compared to
exactly.
to the Catholic church.
Yes, very. And I grew up in the Catholic school. Went to the same Catholic school that my mom was married in, and she coached PE there when she was in college, and a lot of my uncles went there. So I was around Catholicism a lot, and I appreciate a lot of it
Sure.
now,
Oh,
like being on the other side. It's, for me, I love the repetition and the symbolism. But at the I'm not religious in any way, as and most people that know me know, but, I can now look back and appreciate that, symbolism and things.
I've always wondered if it's even possible, and I guess in some manifestations it's what you're describing, that if Catholicism could keep its beauty and its mystery,
Yeah, that's what it is.
but not so much its curia and its structure.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And there is a massive mystical tradition within Catholicism.
Yeah, for sure.
It's run through for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes what in the world are you doing here? Sorry, folks. Garrett's moving the camera.
It's moving. Oh, because I'm turning.
Right in the middle of things here. So,
It's on you.
I don't. So, South Georgia.
Yes.
What was that like?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Georgian.
Yeah.
But I'm up in the hills above the gnat line, and
Ye-
there were no
oh.
onion fields near me.
Lots. That's Vidalia.
You're Valdosta.
I'm Valdosta, but it's if you know Valdosta, you know Vidalia, and if you don't know one, you know the other. You just get them. It's all one thing basically. But it was very buggy. Lots of gnats. Very warm. Lots of separation. A little bit of legalism. I grew up, like I said, I went to Catholic school. I also went to super strict Southern Baptist school, and then ended up transferring to Valdosta High School when I was a junior in high school. So I kind of had a little bit of all of the poisons, if you will, a little religion, a little, legalism, and then a little debauchery.
See, I didn't get to public schools to middle school. Very similar, very similar. I didn't know this about you either. I'm glad we're having this interview. I went to church schools, and they were very strict. I mean, we had little uniforms, and girls only wore culottes or dresses. No girls couldn't wear pants.
Yeah.
Very, very strict. So it was a world exploding when you're 13 and going through to puberty yourself, and you get dumped into the public schools.
Oh, for sure.
It was terrifying, in that way. And by the time you get to high school, you kind of got the hang of it. But I can't imagine going from private Christian school into high school as a junior.
I mean, it was crazy. Honestly, we were so because my parents were non-denominationals, but I mean, there's obviously some legal, some religion there. In my past, but as far as like my immediate family and beliefs and stuff. But I do think that being in such a legalistic atmosphere within the Southern Baptist world made and also it was just like they gave us, if we were late, we were suspended. Like they didn't like our family just because we were a little bit more rebellious. So it just ended up being not a great experience. So when I got to the public school, I was like, give me the jeans, give me, a shirt that can say Gap on it. Because I mean, of course, in those cultures, it's all women that have to alter what they wear, what they, we couldn't wear anything an inch or smaller on your shirt because that might tempt a man, so it's set up in this way that's very much women have to change everything and the men kind of have it like normal.
Her last name is Klein. She wrote a book this past year in 19 about purity culture.
Oh, yes.
And
I don't know.
I can't think
exactly
of her first name, but I mean, I was kicking back against my own type of fundamentalism, but at the same time, I when I read her book, I'd been very blind to the fact that, look, pal, you had it easy.
Well, yeah.
I mean, because, again, all the adjustments were being made by females.
Right.
And they were the ones making all the adjustments, and at the same time being prevented from exercising any power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For sure.
And that, your outfit can provoke a man's dirty mind.
Right.
So it makes you responsible,
right,
instead of him responsible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which
and that's
shame-inducing.
Exactly.
And we've talked about that,
yeah.
And we may get to some of that tonight too, but recovering from that kind of shame inducement as a religious act.
Yeah. Like be smaller. You're there to support, your husband, God prepare you to be the wife that you need to be to, be complete in life, as a woman. And so, yeah, there's all these, mentalities and belief systems that are really ingrained in us, in that culture. And, some of them people, argue are great. And I personally, think that there's women hold so much power, and it's so important for women to be able to, for all human beings to be held accountable for their actions and their thoughts rather than, becoming responsible for that as a woman in that culture,
It's very much the devil made me do it kind of.
1000%.
Which is such a miscarriage of personal. But that's also the same people often say personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay, be responsible and let others be responsible.
Exactly.
So when did you get out of South Georgia? You go to high school, and you got out pretty quick, didn't you? Did you go to Texas for a while?
I went to Texas for a year. So I lived in Valdosta, my hometown, and my freshman year stayed there. My parents wanted us, I'm one of 6 kids, so they wanted us to stay close to home because, they had, I guess, gone a little wild in college, and so they were like, you need to stay home, and so I stayed there, went to college, broke up with my high school boyfriend, or rather, he broke up with me. Devastating.
On who?
Devastating on me. Oh man! But so I decided to go to this internship in Texas. That was another really interesting culture. I don't know if you've ever heard of Teen Mania, Acquire the Fire. So they have a program called the Honor Academy. And so I went and did that for a year, which is very intense. You basically start the program. It's like a year-long program. You wake up at, 4:30 a.m. You work out every morning. I think this is like a 6-week period when you first start. But, you work like 40 hours in the ministry. You don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't date, you don't listen to secular music. And I appreciate and acknowledge the parameters that they allow you to live within to kind of plan out the rest of your life. Looking back, I probably wouldn't do it again just because it was legalistic, but I definitely think that it served a purpose in my life. But I was in Texas, and that's kind of where I really got in this like little bubble of, seclusion, and really got a plan to move to Nashville, and decided I was going to go to Belmont and was going to do music and move to Nashville. And then I did that in 2005.
So completely on your own. I'm going to Nashville.
Well, ish. My
Ish.
parents were very adamant that I went to college rather than just like be a bartender, which I would have been fine being a bartender. So I went to Belmont. I literally knew one person through a friend. And then I had some high school friends that were in school at MTSU, which is like 45 minutes away. So
In the sprawling metropolis that is Murfreesboro.
Exactly.
I know that because
Big
I got
city,
the
baby.
worst speeding ticket of my life coming through Murfreesboro when I was
Yeah.
about 19 years old. Just like you, I'd been to Paris, Tennessee. Have you
Okay.
been to Paris?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Big
Lord.
time.
And I'd been doing music at a youth camp there all week.
Okay.
And I was exhausted, and I had that little Pontiac wound up. And traffic was just beginning to break as you get outside of Nashville, and I was opening it up for Georgia. And, it still hurts. Every time I can go by that little sign that says National Tennessee Walking Horse, whatever, there at Murfreesboro and
Oh,
the
yeah.
MTSU, and it
Mhm.
still hurts my heart to this day because how bad that ticket was. Yeah, but anyway.
What was it, like $150?
Oh, no. No, it was north of $250
Oh
when
wow.
I was
Ow.
19.
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
big one
man.
when
Long
you're
time
19.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On your
so-
church camp salary.
Yeah, it took. In fact, everything I made that
Yeah,
week at the church
oh,
camp had to pay.
Exactly.
had to pay
God
the
was
ticket.
teaching you a lesson, man.
That's what my friend told me.
I don't know. Can't take those heavenly dollars, honey. You got a stack waiting on you when you get there. Don't worry. God's gonna pay you back.
So you went to MTSU, cheaper.
So I went to Belmont.
Yeah.
And then by
I'm
the
sorry, I
end
jumped
of
the
it,
gun.
yeah.
I knew that
Oh, you
detail
did.
already. Sorry,
I forgot you knew that.
Pull that back.
No, it's totally fine. So so I went to Belmont for like 2 years, got an internship at Curb Records, and then ended up getting a deal there. At work.
Christian music.
No,
Country
country
music?
music. Yeah. So I worked behind the front desk, got my first record deal, and then I realized I was paying so much more to go to school than I was making on my publishing deal. And the school was the Mike Curb College of Music Business. It was like the college within, Belmont University. And I was making about half of that on my publishing deal from Curb Records. And so I decided to transfer schools. So I went to MTSU for a semester after that, and then just was like, whatever. Because I, was already making good enough money in music, and I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, like let's just do it.
Then
So
I want to do music.
yeah, exactly. I was like, I already have I can go back to college anytime, and I've got this opportunity here.
Right.
So I took
And
it. I
this was
dropped out.
mid 2000s, you say?
This was 2006 when I signed my first deal. I think
Crazy.
2006 or 2007. Yeah,
I mean, you're really young.
I was super
well,
young. Yeah, I was very young. I was, just 20. I think I was 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about Nash Vegas.
What you want to know?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville,
The place
Tennessee.
where dreams go to die.
Right.
I mean, I'm not being mean.
Oh, man.
I mean, I've been in those same recording studios when I
Yeah.
was 19 and 20 and thinking, I could do this. And truth be told, you could
Yeah,
if you wanted it bad enough.
absolutely.
I found out I didn't want it quite as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
But your time in Nashville took a few twists and turns. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to put you on the spot. You just say what you want to say about
Yeah.
it. And I'll fill in the blanks on the post episode later. But
Okay.
so you're in Nashville, you're young, you have this
So-
record deal, you're going to do it.
Yes. And then I ended up parting ways with Curb Records. I met my ex, who was also a songwriter, ended up getting married, and kind of tried my hand at like the housewife thing for a second. And I was just like, I'm not really made for this. I worker, and I like to, I also feel like music is such a gift, and it's like, doesn't matter what capacity you use it in. But I mean, I was young in Nashville, had every opportunity ahead of me. So I was like, I need to do this. So I ended up signing a deal at EMI, and then was writing for, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, and just really honing in on.
Which isn't as romantic as it sounds, is it? Writing songs
No.
for 18 months.
Yeah. I mean, well, when you're chomping at the bit to make a record and you're, ready, and you're like, put me in, coach, in that feeling and that headspace, I did need a lot more time to develop and learn my craft of writing songs. And like really learn to carry my weight in the room as a songwriter.
Did you meet a songwriter during that time that was really influential on you? That was like, wow, that's how you do it.
There was a couple. Yeah, there's a couple really big songwriters that I got to write with. That, just know what they're doing. I mean, it just flows super easily and. I mean, for me, honestly, now writing songs by myself, it flows really easily because there's nobody else there to kind of steer the ship. So now that I haven't been in Nashville for about a year, it's pretty interesting to just write by myself because I'm kind of the boss. And honestly, I get probably the most positive reactions out of stuff that I've written by myself. Because I feel like I'm able to say more.
It's truer.
It's truer to who I am and what I want to say. But yeah, I mean, when you're writing at a publishing company, and so essentially I'm like, okay, I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm doing country music. There's a parameter that you have to write in. So I'm not just like writing whatever I want to write. I'm writing what labels and publishing companies expect to hear on the radio. Yeah. So you're basically listening to what's on the top 20 and
writing to that
1000%. Yeah. So you're writing, around all of that and writing, thinking, okay, if I turn this in, this has to be a commercial song because that's actually a part of a lot of the deals.
So like the joke, like a song has to have a truck, a breakup, a dog, a drink, like that's real.
Yeah.
That was always the running joke. Like you turn it to a country station, you're like, okay, we got to nail all 4 of these at one time.
Right. Well, that's wild. I mean, essentially, like not that
right.
But yes, essentially, like it has to have a certain groove. It has to have a certain feel. Once you get into like people don't want to hear a bunch of minor chords. Like they want like happy. If you listen to country radio, you know what's going to be coming out.
The best songs are in the minor chords, though.
Right. Well,
I mean, the songs
the songs that really hit you.
Here.
Yeah.
So in a sense, you were like gridlocked. Like this is what you have to do.
Yeah. If you're doing it as a career, for sure, your responsibility is to write songs that could be hits on the radio.
So did this cause a lot of tension and friction with you? Like because you're talking about your passion is writing what's on your heart, like writing what's on your mind, life. All these different things. So did that cause a lot of tension and friction? And
I think it did. I think that as an artist, I think what's really cool about music is like the emotion behind it and the things that tie us all together, like the human aspect of it, humanity of it. And you do have to pull away from that a little bit. You have to keep it PC. You have to, kind of water it down a little bit.
And that's not you.
I mean, no, not necessarily. I mean, I definitely think that there are some songwriters that write in a really awesome, real way. It's definitely a gift for people to be able to do that. And, on that same token, I think that there's a lot of people that do conform that find a lot of success, and that's great. But I also think that there are people that haven't conformed and still have a lot of success. So, I mean, that's why I feel like my musical journey isn't over. Like my pursuit to do it as a country music artist or like an artist under a genre with hit songs on the radio, that isn't my desire. Is that out of like the realm of possibility? No, but that's not what I see for my life anymore, but I can still write and perform and record music that like holds that weight, right? And there's still opportunity for that to land in the right places.
Oh yeah.
And on the right ears. So it's like it's different writing with a publishing deal and writing just to write, for sure.
We have a couple of questions. Gary Hedges. Gary.
Hi, Gary.
Gary. We always have to say his name like that. He says, of all the songs you've written, what's your favorite and why? And then my buddy Lewis from Indiana. Hey, Lewis.
Hi, Lewis.
Will you sing us your favorite?
She will.
I will.
She will.
She'll sing something.
For sure, I'll sing something.
We don't want to put her on the spot right now, but yes. So your favorite song that you've written?
I really would.
The song about change the world is my favorite song you've written.
Oh,
It's
Heal the
not about
World?
you, Ronnie.
I know,
It's
but
about- I'm just.
every chance
Yeah.
I get, I'm going to push that song.
Yeah,
Somebody,
really do love
if it's
that
not
song.
Sarah Anne Davidson, needs to take that song and run with it. It's
it's
in
great.
2020.
It's fantastic.
It's like I'll use a good charismatic word. It's prophetic.
Oh, thank you.
It's
That sounds way too close to pathetic.
it's not about
But
you.
a different meaning. Eric. Different meaning.
Go ahead, Sarah.
I know.
I
I
just
know.
love that song.
Yeah, no, I would definitely say Heal the World is something that is, I think it might be released. I can't remember. I know I tried to release it, and I think the artwork was too granular. I don't know. But if not, I'll release it soon. But Heal the World is definitely one of my favorites. Stood for Change is one of my favorites. And I wrote both of those in a time where, I don't know, a couple years ago. But I do feel that both of those are really prophetic. I wrote both of them on piano, recorded them before I moved from Nashville. And I remember I was praying a lot, meditating a lot, really heavy-hearted just from a lot of the injustices that were happening in the world that have now been even more so brought to light and a point of conversation, which I think is so special and important. And man, such a long time coming, you know. And as Christians, for us to be able to let go of ego and let go of this this pride that says, you know, we're not at fault, or there has to be some sort of like self-preservation in our justice and in our, you know, we didn't cause this. And I just feel like really what God is calling the real radical lovers to do is to just love and to collectively acknowledge a trauma that is generational and has been a source of pain and anguish for generations. And I've witnessed it, you know, in my Southern heritage. And man, I just think that that's what those songs speak to. And that's really what has come to fruition in the past couple of years. And so I particularly do love those songs as well. So I would have to say those Heal the World and Stood for Change are probably two of my favorites. And there's another song called Only Love that
Which
is
we've
also
heard,
one
I
of my
think.
favorite. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I've
have you
played
done
it
that?
before. But
The last show that we did before quarantine started at Red's, we had a Valentine's show. me
yes,
and you,
yeah.
And you sang that song that night.
Oh, it's Only Love. Yeah.
I don't think I'd heard it previously. You escaped Nashville
Escape.
with
I'm like, is that a question or a
with-
statement?
well,
it's not like escape room.
You
escaped?
escaped Nashville with some bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that fair?
Yeah, I would definitely say that's fair. I mean, I wouldn't even say that I escaped because it hasn't fled. I'd say stepped away.
Stepped away.
You know, I think for me, being in the atmosphere, it's hard to be an artist and not pursue that or not know the direction in pursuing that. And especially in a place where everyone around you does the same art as you, in a way, it's hard to think, you know, or to like just kind of be still in the hustle, knowing that there's opportunity there, if that makes any sense. Just knowing that like I could do this, you know, like if this one song takes off, it could happen in this way. And it just, you know, I was supposed to have a single on this one artist who happened to also be on Curb, and you know they're like, you have this next single, and you know blah blah blah. It was a song that I had on it's called I Lost You, and Dylan Scott is his name. And we were supposed to have the next single, and I owned all the publishing, which would mean a difference of like, you know, $500,000 for me. And
versus 50.
50, no, literally, no, you $50.
Yeah, I
I
know,
get a
I
check for like $60 every quarter from this song.
Wow.
But I was just like, man, like, just the hits keep coming, and I just felt like, you know, God was calling me to something like simpler, something. Just like a pause moment, right? And I think if anything, going to Texas and learning that it's okay to step away from everything and radically change your life and whether that means I, move back to Nashville, or whether that means that I don't, whatever that looks like, for me to step away and to radically take a moment, I think is something that was very needed for me, and something that's needed in a lot of situations. But I think so many people are fearful of that, fearful of taking that step away, because like, what if people forget me? What if, I'm making the wrong decision? And it's like, God works all of it out, like all of it.
Mm-hmm. I believe that too. It's been my observation over the last year that you've moved into not just sort of a break and a reprieve, but you've moved into this time in your life where you are intentionally working on recovery and regrouping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Obviously you have an ex-husband, so there's pain from that. Obvious that, none of us do anything without being forced.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of get...
Well, we can,
but we rarely
do.
Rarely.
Yeah.
And so even leaving Nashville, and I won't embarrass you, she was on television.
Oh, yeah.
She had all this stuff going
TV
on,
show.
but it was just enough.
Yeah.
And so you're really working through, and I admire this, this recovery process.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean for you? Because I know it's real intentional. You've gone into intentional wellness shops. You're working on you. What does that mean? And what would you say to anybody, but particularly a young woman who feels like, well, shit, I got to put my life back together here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
About being empowered to put it together differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a song that I listen to a lot now, and it's called Unfolding by Luca Folgale.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the hook is, I am not breaking, I am not broken, I am unfolding. And that song, so I think you're referring to this program that I went to, or most immediately or recently went to, called Onsite, which is a wellness workshop in Tennessee, and it addresses, there's all different programs they have, but it addresses trauma, emotional unhealth, and all sorts of varying capacities. And the program that I went to is called Living Centered, and it's a group therapy type situation, and you're doing therapy with psychotrauma therapy. So you're doing very interactive things, and the way that the brain works is so interesting. And this is where I really feel like emotional health and mental health really comes into spirituality, and is married, because God's created our brains in this way that's so interesting. And I believe that there are things that we pick up, and beliefs and shame and things that hold us back in an emotionally unhealthy place. And we have to seek help from people that know more than we do about the brain. And so that's, there's a spiritual piece to that, and then there's a mental health piece to that. And like I said, I think that once you really get into discovering trauma, or understanding trauma, life trauma, and understanding emotional health, you really start to understand that it's all really, really interconnected. And it's important, I think, a lot of times in like the Christian world, or just the world in general, our culture says like, just be okay, deal with it, like just believe and God will come and heal you and fix it. And yes, I do believe in healing, but I also believe that there are these different modalities we can do, like EMDR, which is rapid eye movement, meditation, which I have a daily practice of meditation, and these different systems that, obviously a lot of really smart researchers and therapists have done tons of work on. And you can diffuse the emotional charge around something that's happened to you. So whether that's a divorce that you process as trauma, whether your parents got divorced, whether you were emotionally abused or shamed as a child, physically abused, sexually abused, there is healing for those things. And a lot of times that takes a psychotherapy type of work
Pull it out.
to get to those places to where you can really understand, the emotional component and diffuse the emotion around it. And you can remember the situation like this happened to me, but I am able, when I'm triggered by things around me, or I'm in my response to my life being out of control as a child is to control. Or my response to, being shamed as a child around food is to yo-yo diet. There's a way that we can go back and work through those traumas and get to our inner selves and our inner child and begin to take care of ourselves in a more loving way and responding to situations in our lives rather than being a victim and reacting to everything in our lives. So I don't know. I guess just going through my divorce and, I had some stuff that happened to me when I was a teenager where it resulted in me having my ovaries removed. And I don't even know if we've even talked about that, but
not in detail, but
yeah, but
I wasn't going there. So you brought it up. Okay?
No, it's totally fine. Like I said, I'm an open book. And it's taken a lot of work around those things to even get to a place where I'm comfortable sharing. But my deepest hope is that me standing in my truth empowers other people to stand in theirs, whatever that looks like, whether that is, and not everyone has to discuss everything with everyone,
Sure.
right? We don't have to throw our pearls to everyone around us, but
there's so many people. That's a perfect analogy because there's a lot of people that trample on it. They don't care.
Exactly.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. Yeah, there's people that just and I feel like there's discernment in your spirit and knowing when and where to share. But I also think that when you come from a place and an intention of wanting to impact the world and other people, to let them know that there is a deeper thread of humanity here, right?
Yeah.
We are all suffering from some sort of loss, from some sort of pain, some sort of trauma. And my personal healing is the greatest message of hope for someone else.
Sure.
That's either hurting or walking through the same thing or, suffering in some way, for them to be able to look to me, that's sharing my truth from a place of empowerment and healing.
That is so biblical in the sense that the Apostle Paul talks about how you have suffered, and then he doesn't give an explanation why, but then basically says, you have suffered so you can help some people that have suffered themselves.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, is also an overlooked aspect of what the cross is all about. We've made the cross just about, Jesus, I don't mean just about, that sounded terrible, but Jesus died on the cross for your sins so you can go to heaven. That is a sliver of the diamond that glints in a million different directions. And for me, as I've gotten older, I've come to understand the cross more and more as God identifying with suffering.
Yeah.
Solidarity in suffering. So that in a very real way, you could never accuse God of not understanding.
Yeah.
Because in Christ, all that ugly loss and pain is just, it's the worst the world could give. And he bore it.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, goes back to what you're talking about, the radical lovers. That's what radical love is. I'll take all the bad and I'll bear it. I'll bear it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, when Jesus asks, the Father, like, why have you forsaken me? I think that, feeling forgotten by God is something that has been huge for me. And like walking through, like I was super religious when I was younger, would write prayers every single night as a child, would write, Christian songs and, would read my Bible every night. And then I walked through, having to have my ovaries removed. And I was like, but God, why me? Yeah. And then, buried all of that underneath because I never really understood that I had to deal with it on an emotional and mental level. And then carried that into my marriage. And that played a role in a lot of the, unhealth in that. I'm definitely not alone, but,
Sure.
like you attract your level of health.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was unhealthy in that and then walked through that again. And it's like, even then it's like, well, God, why have you forsaken me? And then just even up till going to on-site, just feeling forgotten in a lot of different ways, like things not working out the way I thought they would, or, you know, like my music career, and, you know, having that moment of, you know, desperation of like, why am I forgotten, you know, of all the good that I've done. And, you know, the bigger message is I'm not, you know, I'm not forgotten. I'm seen, I'm known, I'm loved. Like, it makes me emotional because there's so many confirmations in my life that I've gotten around that, but that's the truth. You know, yes, I suffer, but I'm not alone in that, and that I'm known and I'm seen by God in a real way.
I have a quick question. Yeah, I mean, it's been so fun, like, just to kind of hear your story, your journey. I just want to say this first and foremost. You know, Ronnie and I aren't strangers to, you know, hitting the bumps and bruises in the road, and sometimes just running straight into the hurdle face first and breaking through that. It's interesting in hindsight, looking back on our faith journey. You know, from where we were as that first born believer, and like you just have so much excitement, you know what I mean? Like, and the exuberance for your faith, and you mentioned that. And so my question kind of surrounds this idea of your faith journey, right? So looking back to where you were, you know, as a young Sarah Ann, to where you are now, what's been the most consistent piece of faith that's kept you strong in the midst of all the turmoil and chaos that life throws at you?
Yeah. You know, one thing that I've just learned, like, over and over, is that, like, no matter what, like, God's going to chase me down. Like, even if I don't feel that, like, closeness at moments, because I mean, I think that we all have the ebb and flows of life, and life is happening so quickly around us. But I think for me, it's this constant reconfirmation of his goodness, of God's goodness. And, you know, even though I've walked through difficult things, I feel like in those times where I've really felt the closeness of God and the hope despite the hopelessness. You know, like, even though I've been in moments of desperation and hopelessness and brokenness, I think that God has always found a way to, like, show me that it's not over, that the story is not finished, that it will never be finished if I continue to become a vessel of love, you know, because really it's all vibrational, right? When we say things that are loving, they invoke a response or a thought in other people, which in return could echo. And we don't really know how these seeds of love and kindness are going to echo into eternity. Like, we'll never know until this life is over.
Right.
But that's what I want. I just want to be a little, like, ray of sunshine and just, like, go around and just bless people.
What's fantastic is really, like, what you're saying, the song Reckless Love by Corey Asbury comes to mind. And it's just like one of those songs that resonates with everybody, which is, it's the story that
the overwhelming,
never end. Yeah, I'm not going to sing to the mic.
Reckless love of
That's
God.
Exactly.
Yeah,
he leaves the 99. I mean, that's just that's like a song, a story that speaks into the heart of so many people. And I remember the first time I heard it, I was just like, God's love isn't reckless. What he does. But then, like, after hearing it, I'm like, that's me. That's us. That's all of us. Man.
Yeah, and, like, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can, like, become, or no depths we can go to, no hatred we can have in our heart that can't be redeemed by God, you know? And that's what continually comes back to me. It's like, you know, even though I try and, you know, sabotage my life, not consciously, but, you know, it's like,
it's a Romans 8 mentality that nothing shall be able to separate you.
yeah, 1,000%.
And I was having a bad day today. I hadn't felt great, you know, but
And you helped me with my refrigerator and dryer, dude. Whew.
it was heavy.
It was.
And it was hot, but it's good.
Yeah.
I was just happy that your family got a refrigerator. You can't
Oh,
live
my
long
goodness.
without a refrigerator. But, you know, I was texting Cindy early this morning. You know, just a bad start, I guess. I was like, I am so disgusted with this, and this. You know, my complaint list. And then after I got done venting, I said to her, "Me and Jesus gonna go have to have a meeting,
A little talk.
you know." And so I had to find some quiet time today to just think, I'm not the most self-aware, but you do become aware that where is that coming from? Is it just because you're tired? What is it? And it is sometimes this sense of, God, does this matter? That's the one that I struggle with the most. And does this can be anything, you know. But after a little time to collect your thoughts, you're like, well, of course it matters. And what I really want, even when I wake up ready to kill some people, what I actually want is to live in that Romans 8 space. That, neither death nor life, angels, demons, heights, depths shall be able to separate me from the love of God in Christ Jesus. But that applies to everybody. That's the thing. Look, the very people that you're banging your head against the wall about, God loves them exactly and sees them and understands them and values them the same way that even in those flashes where I feel that from God, and I hope people watching tonight, if you have it just once in your life, this overwhelming sense of God actually does love me. I mean, that'll set you free. I mean, for your life.
Yeah.
But if you ever catch a whiff of that, then you realize, well, that's got to go to everybody.
Yeah.
That's
And
gotta go to
how
everybody.
we reciprocate that.
Yeah.
It's so tough.
It's really
but it's huge. It's exactly what Sarah you're saying.
Sarah
how
Anne,
can I do
5
that?
years from now, Sarah Anne Davidson will be.
I haven't heard this question yet.
Will be living in my authentic truth as a child of God and a follower of Jesus.
Oh, I like it. Favorite movie?
Gosh, I either have to go with Sleepless in Seattle or, classic. I watched it the other day. It's so good. The Notebook. I don't know. That's a pretty classic one right there.
Those tear-jerking
I like
romance ones.
P.S. I Love You.
That one will send you.
What?
Have you not seen
I don't
that?
know that.
Oh.
With
Sorry.
Gerard Butler?
Like,
And
Gerard.
That kind of
it's an Irishman.
I like Gerard. Butler
Oh,
a
dude,
lot.
it's
I like it.
Watch-
I love to.
Ronnie's going to watch it tonight. He's going to watch it tonight. We're both going to get a text at like 10:30. Like,
I hate both
Such
of
a good
you.
movie, though.
Favorite,
Oh, my goodness.
Favorite recording artist or band?
Man, I love Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac
Oh,
so
yeah,
much. She's so good. That I probably have to go with Fleetwood Mac. Their music is just so good. Tom Petty too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know you do a couple of really good covers of
I love
his.
Tom Petty.
Favorite place you visited?
Probably Italy. Really anywhere in Italy.
Cindy, are you watching this? Did you hear that?
I love
I knew she
Italy.
would love
It's
The
so
Notebook.
good.
Is what she just said.
Cindy's watching.
What's your guilty pleasure viewing show
that's what I
on
was gonna
Netflix?
say. Guilty pleasure or your favorite waste of time?
Yeah,
Just
In general,
you have 3 seconds.
thinking maybe. Biggest waste of time. I don't know. Like, is anything a waste of time? Probably television
Yes.
is a waste of time. Television actually could be listed under a waste of time.
but you could binge watch something.
Let's see
are you
the
a binge
last
watcher?
show. Okay, the last show that I binge watched was Outlander, and it the show just makes me mad.
I would have
honestly.
pegged you for Tiger King, but
Oh, I totally watched Tiger King, but that's like
that's the most.
given.
What's sad is that's the most normal thing of 2020.
I
It's like-
right? Everyone
it's-
watched Tiger King, but outside
That
of
Carol
like
Baskin.
like quarantine, I feel like everyone binge watched everything on quarantine, right? But I
The
think
first week,
Outlander
yeah.
was the last thing that I binge watched. Yeah, I guess that would have to be my guilty pleasure.
You have a favorite book? Don't say Bible. That didn't count. That's always the cop out.
I really love. I've been listening to Untamed, which is Glennon Doyle, which
yeah.
I love Glennon Doyle, and then I love anything by Brene Brown, and I really,
she's great.
I know she's so great. I also really love this little book called How to Love by Thich Nhat Hanh.
Really, I don't know that book. I mean, I know the author,
yeah.
the Vietnamese Buddhist.
Yes.
Mhm.
And he has this little book, and it's, I don't even know how many pages, 120, but it's all these just little digestible, paragraph, 2 paragraph long, little tips on how to love and how to like really empathize with people and be there for your family, your partner, however, whatever that looks like. But it just has all these different little aspects of and thoughts, which I love anything that he writes. I think he's just, about awareness and about loving deeply in the present moment, which is what we all want to do, right?
Favorite food?
Pizza.
Oh yeah, of course.
I love pizza.
What types though? Like thin crust, original,
Any
Chicago
kind.
deep dish.
I like a good, I like crispy crust. I like regular crust. I don't know. I used to love Pizza Hut, but they really been slacking. I love any Angelina's is really good here.
Toppings.
Yeah.
What are your toppings?
Just like pepperoni,
Just-
cheese,
Just
jalapeno.
like pepper. You sound like my 7-year-old.
Do you do pineapple ham?
Yeah, I mean, I love.
You'll eat almost any kind
I
of
like a
pizza.
pineapple jalapeno pepperoni. That's good.
I love it.
You just lost me. I'm sorry.
Listen, everybody that's been listening, we're gonna have Sarah sing a song.
You're gonna have to plug in, man.
I'm gonna take care of you here in just a second. Here, Sarah, go and grab that guitar. I'm gonna let her mic with my mic in just a minute. If you have watched 15 minutes of this and you don't love Sarah Anne Davidson the way that Cindy and I love her, like she's our little sister,
Y'all are the best.
and we would take her into our family at the drop of a hat. Now you know why.
Adopt
This is a. I would. I've done it before.
Sarah Ann McBrayer.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, tune that up. I had a strange tuning earlier today. So.
All right. What? Here. Do we have a pick anywhere? So I'll play. Okay, that's fine. Here, I'm gonna move this over so I don't spill it with the.
Is this when you start thrashing?
Now, if you can play while holding that'd be amazing.
That would be a very interesting talent. A lot of people in Nashville, a lot of smokers, if they're like doing a songwriter round, they stick their cigarette right there in their guitar. Like that actually would be a great idea, like a little wine holder that comes off the guitar. How many nights must I lie awake and wonder? How many lives is it gonna take? Where in the world did we lose our way? I wonder. We can't just walk out on the pavement, but I still hear the freedom ringing, and I hear the people singing. Let's heal the world for every single boy, every little girl. I believe that love can save us all, but it's gotta start with us. Let's heal the world. What are we building for our children, for their future? Why are we sitting on our hands? I'm over building walls and buying the confusion. Let's come together once again.
I can see the white flag flying. I see us all uniting to heal the world. Every single boy, every little girl. I believe that love can save us all, but it's gotta start with us. Let's heal the world, yeah. Heal the world. Can you feel the love as it rises up? And it changes me, and it changes us. Can you feel the love as it rises up? And it changes me, and it changes us. Can you feel the love? Let's heal the world. For every single boy, every little girl, I believe that love can save us all, but it's gotta start with us. Let's heal